right. And we are live. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody feeling? Thursday, March 26th. Time is just flying by. We are moving fast through the ether, my friends, through the ether. I have a packed show today for you. A lot of awesome information, a lot of detailed information, and I'm here to just bring you the news, you know? Let's just see how the stream is running, making sure that everything is peachy. Maybe not this one. Maybe not that one. That would actually bring me right to the stream. Want to double check. We are moving fast. Awesome. Okay, here we go. Hope everyone's feeling well today. Hope everyone's having a great day. As great as you can in this crazy, crazy world. Yeah, where are you out in the world? What are you thinking? What are you doing? And how are you feeling? Now, if you haven't, I always try to start this with the hidden secrets of money. And what I do is I just try to play this one section over and over again because it's super important that people understand the concept behind me and what I'm doing, right? And it does come from knowledge from people older than me. But let me just tell you something right here.
Whether you're making a payment on a loan or paying tax to make a payment on a bond, the portion of the payment that goes to pay off the principal extinguishes that portion of the debt. But the debt also extinguishes the currency. Currency and debt are like matter and antimatter. When they meet, they annihilate each other. If we just pay off the principal only on all the loans and bonds that exist, the entire currency supply just vanishes. So if we don't go deeper into debt...
Do you see what I'm saying? He's saying that if we just paid the principal off to the Federal Reserve for printing money, to all the principals and the interest on the loans, we would have no cash left. So there's more debt than there is cash to pay the debt off. Okay.
Every year, look what happens. The whole thing goes into a deflationary collapse under the weight of those payments. Politicians and pundits alike talk about balancing the budget, paying down the debt, and living within our means. They don't understand that that is deflationary. It is impossible to do under our current monetary system without collapsing the whole economy. This is why any talk of a debt ceiling is not only ridiculous, it's delusional. The system is designed to require ever-increasing levels of debt just to continue. And that's why politicians will always kick the can down the road and raise this so-called debt ceiling over and over again until the whole system finally collapses under its own weight. In other words, they don't want it to collapse on their watch. The founding fathers of the United States knew the dangers of central banking and fought to free themselves from this very thing.
Don Juan, how we feeling?
The Revolutionary War started out as a tax revolt, but now we must pay tax just to have a monetary system. Having just suffered through the hyperinflation of the continental dollar, which was printed into oblivion to finance the Revolutionary War, they understood the dangers of fiat currency and debt-based monetary systems. So to protect future generations from institutional theft and out-of-control government, they wrote into the Constitution that only gold and silver can be money for the simple fact that you can't print them. Our current system is not only unconstitutional, but it robs us of the liberty and prosperity our forefathers fought and died for. We are all feeling the effects of ignoring the Constitution right now. By forcing more currency into circulation, our purchasing power is diluted. Inflation is a slow and insidious stealth tax that is simply the result of this debt-based monetary system. This system empowers and benefits those who create the currency and receive it first, as they get to spend it into circulation before it has an effect on the economy. They're stealing...
You see what I'm saying? When they create $1 billion, at the very moment they have it, it hasn't been released. So their $1 billion is worth $1 billion. But the second they add the $1 billion into the system, your dollar is worth less. And let me explain that. What if there was only $100 in the system and basically you had $1? You would have 1/100th of the whole system. But if they keep printing money to the point where they have $1,000, then you only have 1/1000th of the system, and your $1 has now lost its proportional value. You understand that? Everyone understand what's going on there?
Purchasing power from you and transferring it to the banks and the government.
My musa. Funny, I was messing with Tyler today. I sent him a link to my COVID-19, and he's like, if it's not biological, I'm not into it, man. And so this morning I woke up thinking about what he said, and I said, do you listen to music? He probably won't respond, and I don't know if I'm going to make him mad. I was just messing with him, but I was like, Tyler, do you listen to music? And I was like, all our music was made in a technological setting. Like, right, I have a microphone, I have to have a preamp, I have to have a computer, basically. So if you listen to music, you're already saying that you're into technology, And I was just messing with him. Good for you, man, for having everyone watch that. Smart man.
Every day because of this false monetary system. And it's not like the people at the top don't know this. To quote the Federal Reserve, the decrease in purchasing power incurred by the holders of money due to inflation imparts gains to the issuers of money.
Yeah, see, and that's why you buy Bitcoin, because they aren't printing Bitcoin. They have nothing to do with Bitcoin. All they can do is try to manipulate the price of Bitcoin by, basically manipulating the money supply, which eventually you can see will eventually collapse, and it will turn bad. It'll turn very, very bad. Here he just basically explains it really fast in a nutshell. The Treasury needs money, so they create an IOU, okay? Once they create an IOU, they sell it to the banks at what's called the open market system. You can Google this on Investopedia. Open market system, right? And what that is open market operations, refer to the buying and selling of government securities in the open market. See? It's the supply of money that is on deposit in the U.S. banks and therefore available to loan out to businesses and consumers. It purchases Treasury. So they hang out. All these banks will hang out, and they'll try to auction off our debt. And if someone will win it, and they'll pay for the IOU, and they'll give the cash to the bank, to the Treasury. The Treasury will then give that money to the various government and people that are in the government, like soldiers, government workers, things of that nature. They will then put it in the banks. The banks will then fractional reserve lend it out and out and out until they created $999 out of every dollar.
Step 2. IOUs are swapped to create currency. The Treasury sells the bonds to the banks. The banks then turn around and sell our national debt at a profit to the Federal Reserve, which they probably own.
Yep.
The Federal Reserve then opens its checkbook that doesn't have a penny in it and buys those IOUs with...
And this will be over. We will start market open very, very soon.
IOUs that it writes, checks, on a checking account that has a zero balance. Then they give those checks to the banks, and currency just springs into existence. And then the whole process repeats. This results in a buildup of bonds at the Federal Reserve and currency at the Treasury, which is really just a supply of numbers. The Treasury then deposits the numbers in the various branches of the government, and we get to step 3. The government spends the numbers on promises, public works, social programs, and war. Then the government employees, contractors, and soldiers deposit their pay into the banks. And we get to step 4, where the banks multiply the numbers by magically inventing more IOUs through fractional reserve lending, where they steal a portion of everyone's deposit and lend it out. That currency gets redeposited, and then a portion is stolen again. And the process repeats over and over, magnifying the currency supply exponentially. Then we work for some of those numbers, which brings us to step 5, where our numbers are taxed. We pay tax to the IRS, who then turns our numbers over to the Treasury, so the Treasury can pay the principal plus the interest on bonds that were purchased by the Federal Reserve with a check from nothing. Then we get to step 6, the debt ceiling delusion. The system is designed to require ever-increasing levels of debt and will eventually collapse under its own weight because politicians always kick the can down the road. They don't want it to collapse on their watch. And finally, step 7, the secret owners take their cut. The world's largest banks own the Federal Reserve. Those banks make a profit selling our national debt to the Fed. They make a profit when the Fed pays them interest on the reserves held at the Fed, and the Fed pays them a 6% dividend on their ownership of the Fed. This system is fundamentally evil. It funnels wealth from the working population to the government and the banking sector. It is the cause of the artificial booms and busts of modern economies, and it causes great disparity of wealth between the rich and the working class. And it is only possible because we no longer use real money, we use currency. But worst of all, it is a form of enslavement. Bond is the root word of bondage. Whenever a government issues a bond, it is a promise to make us pay tax in the future. Nobody asked you if you wanted to pay tax today for the prosperity we all enjoyed in the last century. Nobody is asking our children if they want to work hard in the future to pay for the prosperity we're enjoying now. George Washington once wrote to James Madison, "No generation has the right to contract debts greater than can be paid off during the course of its own existence." By stealing prosperity from tomorrow so we can...
All right, and if you want to just keep this up, I would watch this every day. I watch it once a week, honestly. There was a time when it was hard for me to understand, even though I knew this. I would unlearn it, learn it and unlearn it, and it just became, I don't know, it became tough. Okay, but let's get into the markets. They're about to open in 4 minutes. Now, I like to look at the SPSU, and this tells me that the market's not going to open too bad. I don't know how, I don't know what they're doing, but if this is pre-market down, and this is the short on the S&P, then that tells me that the futures will be up a little bit, which is strange because right now I'm looking at dowfutures.com, right? And, you know, Dow futures slump ahead of weekly jobless data as U.S. coronavirus top 1,000, right? The Thursday market minute, global stocks slide as coronavirus infections near 500,000, and investors switch focus from U.S. stimulus to the economic cost of the worldwide pandemic. Yeah, and that's how we know China is lying, because they have 1.4 billion people. There's no way they had 80,000 cases. It really ticks me off, because if they gave us the numbers, I think we would have had a better fighting chance, and it would have woken up our governments, maybe just the average person too, to help the overall movement of society. I am really upset with the CCP. I think they're a bunch of scoundrels, dirty, rotten scoundrels. And yeah, and it also makes me think that eventually they're going to use this narrative to take us to war with China. I don't like war. I'm not trying to propagate war, but I believe they're going to eventually say, look at how China lied. They need to be destroyed. And everyone in America, when they see the death that happened, they're going to get irate, and then they're going to use that to get everyone behind a war with China. I think it's going to be kind of a brainwash move. So look for that coming. The more conscious you are, the more you can connect the dots and see what they're saying. But that's another topic for another day. That's a little deeper. Your mind has to be kind of really woke and open for that to really sink in. But yeah, gold now making big moves today. You can see it had a big candle. It went to 1604, but it shot up to 1635 and got sold a little bit down to 1628. We are on a bull flag here for gold. So what I see happening in just in the short term. So there we have a bull flag, right? And we have a potential breakout of the bull flag. You take the flagpole as a slant, bring it to the top of the breakout, and that puts gold back at $17.20 an ounce. So look for gold. The last time I did this, we predicted the 1700. I basically drew this bull flag here. You can see it. I drew this bull flag right here, which is very similar to what we're seeing here. Okay. You draw the flagpole, put it up to the slant, and that gave me, look, the target, I should say with my new accent, the target of 1699, 1700. And boom, lo and behold, we hit it exactly, pretty damn close to the target of the bull flag. So I say the same thing happens here. I'm going to make a call on it. I'm forcing a lot of my family and friends into JNUG. On the 4-hour, we're doing well. On the daily, we have a MACD cross just on its way to come. This is very good, and we're very oversold in the RSI. At 350, you would have already been over 100%, or basically damn near. Yesterday, we did hit it. Now, on the pre-market, it's up 690, and boom, we open up. We open up with the Dow up 232 points. I had a feeling the Dow wouldn't be down just because I saw SPXU. But the futures market said we were going to be down. So it's a little strange. I think there's always a little bit of manipulation going on here. Jobless claims up a huge amount. They're being Googled If you look at the Google search for jobless claims, it's not good at all. Unemployment. So unemployment, look at this chart here. Boom, 3.3. In '08, we just had this little spike here. We have more people unemployed due to this virus than ever, and we're pumping more money into the system than ever. It's like they are scrambling right now. Donald Trump is scrambling to get keep himself in office. You can see, though, we have a MACD cross coming just like we have on JNUG. So that tells me that the Dow does have some room to grow on somewhat of a V-shaped recovery here. Long term, I am very bearish on the Dow, but right now I have to show you what the market shows me, what technical analysis shows me. We had a V-shaped recovery. Now let's see where our next resistance point is. We're right at it right now at this 2168. You can see we bounced off of here, and now we're fighting it. So very important we get through this. If we don't get through this, we could see definitely more downside today. So this is a huge moment in time to watch here, this 21631. I actually want to throw a VPVR on this. The reason why I want to do that is because the VPVR can show me where there's structure in the market, where there's a lot of buying and selling on the visible range here. More indicators per chart. I always have the VPVR on. Hey, you talking about? Hey, oh, it's on. I just have it closed. So look, if we put it back up, we'll just take it off and add it again because it's acting funny. VPVR, visible range. All right, maybe you can't use the VPVR on the Dow. I don't know. It's weird. We can definitely use it for Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is hovering at this 66 level. See, there's the VPVR for Bitcoin. I guess it doesn't work on the Dow for some whatever reason. So we have a huge resistance up here. You can see there's a lot of buying and selling. And right here as well. And that is the 8,700 mark. Okay. Let's look at it on the 4-hour. Give ourselves a little more of data here. Now, on the 4-hour, we have a MACD cross coming. And now what I see for the Dow is I said a double top. And I drew this line here because I said I think we're going to go back to 4,500. I do see pain for Bitcoin coming. Crypto Don Juan, man, my known shorter here. It might be time to run a short here on the Dow. It could be a really good time to run a short here on the Dow. That's just something I'm seeing. Shout out to everyone on the stream today. I appreciate it. Please hit the like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm just push this out more. So now look, we see a dump happening right now for Bitcoin. I sold at 6,500 and I've been FOMOing even as it goes to 67. Like, damn, what if it goes to 7,000 and I miss out? But I just told myself to stay steady, look at the charts, and be calm. Now I see a double top. I see a double top here. So with that being said, so we had a double top for sure, and I'm basically calling that we're gonna go to 4,500. Yeah, man, that sucks. Maybe we'll lead this trend line. You know, this trend line will kind of stay in. I have like a double. We have a rising wedge too, which is a 68% chance of a break to the downside. So this is just things you have to watch. We have a MACD bearish cross right here, as the blue line is below the red line. And we're kind of heading down on the RSI. We have a double top on the RSI as well. So these are just bearish signs for the crypto market. Not for everything, but for the crypto market. So now we have fiat leak. I like to see how many people are pouring their money into Bitcoin even as the market opens. This is a great site to check out. Not as many buys as there were yesterday. People were pouring in, but giant Bitcoins were moving. There's half a big one. The bigger the Bitcoin, the bigger the buy. So a lot of mini buys. A lot of people were taking nibbles, right? A lot of nibbles going into Japan and Korea. That's interesting to see, right? And then we got some Russian nibbles coming out of the ruble here, right? A little Canadian dollar action, which I don't see a lot. I don't see that a lot. That tells me that people are waking up. and a lot of money going to Europe. Look, now big buys are storming in. Wow, there's a lot of buys coming in. This is very interesting. The U.S. dollar, man. People are flocking. If you can't, this chart is real time showing us how people are flocking out of the U.S. dollar and into anything else that they can get their grubby hands on. And that's true. It's very true. As I keep showing you the gold price at goldandsilver.com. And this is Mike Maloney, the guy who I just showed you on that last video explaining the financial markets. I think he's a fair gold seller. You know, he does have a good gold business, but I think he's a very fair gold seller, and he's always given me a good price, and I always get real official gold from him. But if you look at his bars and coins right now, 1837 is basically the price. Yesterday I could have got it in for 793, so the price just keeps going up, which worries me a lot, because I'm FOMOing in right now to gold. Like, I had a goal for how much gold I wanted, and I feel like it's time to have a little more. It's getting hard to buy. If we go and look at it on the chart, and we look at gold is at 1635. Why do you have to pay $200 over spot for gold? Because there's a big demand for it. Please leave a comment, all 5 people on here. If you leave a comment, we can get the conversation going. It just helps the movement of the show. Makes me feel more active in with everybody else, and it's just something I love to do. So if you could comment, I'd really appreciate it. So JNUG back to $7 and moving. We have that huge MACD cross on the daily coming to us. On the 4 hour shows that we are going to peak and kind of maybe come back down to 6, but it doesn't mean this is over. This means we're on the way. We're very low on the RSI. Look, if you look at this in the daily, you couldn't get JNUG, but since 2015, 1, 2, 3 times it's been this low on the RSI. So this is a steal, my friends. The last time if you did this, you would have gotten in. Would have taken a little while. Maybe you would even have bought here, and you would have rode JNUG from 34 all the way to 100, which is a 215% gain. I think we have bigger gains coming. I think we're going to go from $7 to $30, which is damn near 450% gains. So we're have some big gains coming for JNUG. It would be time to put a large sum of money into JNUG. But the last time that worries me is when the Dow tanked, it tanked JNUG with it. So we do need a little bit of a supportive Dow right now just to get the ups and downs through JNUG. We are oversold on the Dow, and we have a MACD cross coming right now here. Again, I showed you that heavy resistance because it was support here. Support always becomes future resistance. Look, we had support on this angle here. We had support here again. So this line has shown a few times right there, and now we're at it again right here at 21,799. So basically 21,800. That is basically where, and look, we shot out and we got rejected by it yesterday. Can we make it past this? It's very bearish signs when you're below all the moving averages. And you can see that the 21-day moving average is below all of them. Now, if you're looking for a healthy stock, basically, let's see what Walmart's doing. Walmart, see, its price is pretty close to the moving averages. That means it's maybe kind of coming up harder. You know, look at Amazon. Amazon is above its moving average. See, it's got the 21-day, and I keep 5 moving averages. I keep the 21, the 50, the 80, the 100, and the 200. As they kind of move with each other, you can get an idea of what's happening. Like as the 21 crosses, as the lower moving average crosses a higher moving average, you can see price action. See? So when we want to see this white line curve up. That's what we want to see. And if you see the Dow just below all its moving averages, it's not a good sign. I know a lot of traders who won't trade something that's below all these moving averages. They won't touch an asset because it just means it's in a bear market, and they don't want to play bear markets unless they're trying to short their way out of a situation. So now we have some disturbing news. This is our last chance to protect privacy amid COVID-19. As the coronavirus continues to spread total lockdown across the world, governments are creating the foundations for a new society of total surveillance. Can we stop the global pandemic without sacrificing our freedom? I believe we can, but the technology we deploy today should preserve privacy, not destroy our liberties due to global panic. Yeah, like they're proposing a bill where they can see what's said in encrypted messaging, right? In Signal and all sorts of other encrypted messaging, Telegram. They want to see that data. They're proposing this bill. It was written. You can Google it. You know, Congress to create privacy bill, anti-privacy bill. They want to know who you were with, where did you go, right? We seem damned if we don't collect the data needed to stop the coronavirus, and damned if we build a mass surveillance apparatus to do so. Is there any way out? There is a way out of the paradox. We need to build the technology using privacy by design. For over 2 decades, cryptographers, lawyers, and activists have been advocating for decentralized and privacy-enhanced technologies. They give us all the benefits of collecting personal data, but keep our data private. Yeah, it's true. It's something really you have to think about and be conscious of, right? Now, I said what alts am I going to play? I just feel like when Bitcoin consolidates, it's time to play some alts. And Bitcoin has been sitting in the same place for a while. Engine Coin up 13% today. Win, which is Wink, I believe it's like a offshoot of BitTorrent. I got my Wink for free just by holding the BIT coin. Engine USD is up 10%. Troy is up. OneCoin is up. And we had a big move in Monero. Monero had a nice little move. Let's see what happened to Monero. I must have been watching it because it just moved above one of the moving averages, up 65% since St. Patty's Day. That would have been a nice little gain there, right? 32 all the way back to 50 for Monero. Now, Monero is a privacy coin. I expect Monero to gain more momentum as people feel their rights are being stripped away. I think this is going to push people into privacy coins. I've always thought privacy coins were big. John McAfee has always said, look at the privacy coins, people. Look at the privacy coins. But there's a lot of red in the market as well. Verge down. Wabi coin down. Band UST down. Band makes some crazy moves. Let's look at Band because Band can make you some money. Had a huge move up, huge move down. It does look like it has a giant head and shoulders coming, though. I think I had this rounded bottom kind of forming. So we are still kind of in this loop. Who knew we were going to up like that? Interesting to see. We do have a MACD cross maybe, but it looks like more red is extending. I'm staying out of the market actually as I look at this. I think it's time to just take a breather. Take a breather. I think shorting Bitcoin seems to be the move. I don't know why, but that's my feeling and I'm sticking to it. So I may want to play Bear USDT, right? See if I have Bear USDT on this list. What's up with Matic? Matic is a known coin, up 3%. MakerDAO took a huge hit. Everything took a huge hit. This was the nice bottom to get in. If you didn't get in here, it's kind of now time to wait and watch. I would be taking profits today, actually, from these longs here in this area. Today would be a good day to take some money off the table just because of the uncertainty in the world of what's going on. Saying Pivx could make a huge gain. You see it's just flat. Kind of made a big move here. I'm going to take off these wicks, these manipulative wicks. Trying to draw a trend line here. So this is what I see here for Pivx. Pivx is like a payment coin. If it does break out of this, we're getting close to it. 39% gains possible for Pivx, and it is seemed to be coming out of a bearish MACD crossing here. We're a little low on the RSI, but we're at 46. You want above 50 for a bull run, so we need some movement up there. HIC stock delivered a test and apparently detect COVID antibodies. HCIC. Let me add that to the Gus funds. HCIC. Thank you, Scott. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining us. Yep, up 5%. It's fighting through. Henry Shen Inc. Distribute services, medical distributors. So that it must be them. That's who we're talking about here. Wow. See, everyone on this V-shaped recovery. Almost, you could have played these bounces. Could have played this bounce, but that bounce move, when they pump the system, you can be like, all right, there's going to be a gain here. 23% gains for this. This has a MACD cross coming too, and it's already up a little bit. So I think there's some more gains to be had. You want to see it, again, get above these moving averages. We need things to get back above the moving averages to see some movement. Amazon at 1,900, it had a tank and then came back up as well. Everything's kind of going to, I think it's going to, A, consolidate, or B, we're going to lose these gains. The Dow now pumping up a little bit. But again, if we can't get over this hump at 21.8, we're going to see some downside. I'm warning you guys because look, it was previous support here, it is now previous resistance. If we can make it through there, we got resistance again right here and resistance again right here. We need to make it through the 2400 region, and we can get to that once we break over 21.8. But we need to get through 21.8, and if we can get to that, the next region here is this 23.9 around 2400 area. Where am I getting that from? I'm getting it from this bounce here. See, it was pretty much support here. We didn't get too close. There's a next level of support, and we had support right there. So you can see that was a heavy support line as well. Previous support becomes previous resistance. This is just something. So whenever you're looking at a stock and you want to zoom out into the daily, you want to set your support and resistance lines. Here we have, look, we have heavy support here at 16,000. So that could be a bounce place as well. You got to look at the Dow just like you look at any stock. I still have a Fibonacci pulled on the Dow, and it needs to retrace. It did go to the 0.5, which is pretty healthy, but I think it needs to retrace a little more down to the 618 into the 15,000 range. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw a $10,000 Dow if we have to really lock down the economy. Now, if Trump sends us back way too early, he's going to get us really sick, and then we're going to have to shut down again. So there's a chance that we either do the right thing now or we force ourselves back into the economy, and then we get doubly slammed. I'm predicting that things are going to be, things could get very, very ugly very, very fast, as you guys can see. So we're at the bottom of a trend line here for JNUG, and I think we're going to break out and just keep climbing. We're right here. We do need to get back above this line here. Huge, huge resistance now for JNUG at $30. So there's really a lot of upside. You can see. You can see that there's not, like, we've never, I don't think the fund's ever been this low. And this is a good sign, and reason why I'm saying this is because when something doesn't have previous support and resistance, it can fly. It can absolutely fly. So, again, I think this is going to be the play of the month. I don't have COVID. I did sneeze in my sleeve. I hope you guys didn't get any droplets on your computer when I did that. Amazon and Walmart doing well today. Holding it down. And gold doing well. Crypto Don Juan, if you're still here, maybe you're not, but if you are, let us know how you're shorting. I think you're about to start a short, in my opinion, and I'm getting that feeling that it's time to short the market. Let's put a bear USDT up here. So bear USDT is up 3% already. It has a MACD cross coming as well. This is actually the time you want to buy. We're pretty low on the RSI. I like to buy in the white pinkish section of this. I show you we had a falling wedge and we just need to break out of. We kind of are flatlining now here, and we could go up. This may be the play right now. Honestly, as Bitcoin tanks, you could make a nice 345% gains. I have showing here if we can get back up to $45, which we were just on March 12th. This is a new coin, though. It came out pretty early. They figured, hey, why don't we make more money? We'll get people into these bear coins. I think it's a good time to get bearish on Bitcoin, and I'm going to tell you why. I go back to this idea that this is a double top. A double top. Especially on the 4 hour, it's really apparent that it's a double top. Doom. It's an M. And you got to play these M's and the W's the way you see them. Doesn't mean it always happens. We could hit this trend line here at 5765, and then we could see a bounce. But who knows? Bitcoin is really just hugging this region. It's really flatlining. You could say it's a small bull flag as well. You always have to have multiple scenarios in your head when you're trading. The plan is to have multiple plans. See, that could be a slight bull flag, right? If we got to be open-minded about it. The length of that pole, let me come up. If Bitcoin can break out of this, we could see Bitcoin at $7,800. So what am I doing? Well, if I see Bitcoin break this resistance here, which kind of is like sitting there. There's not much resistance if I look left. Right here. is where it was. You could see. That's why this line is this 6,600 has been extremely important for a long time. Look, we bounced. I think we even bounced right here. We did a bounce. We broke through. But this line has shown, even back here, look, fighting this line before. Came down. We've been a lot of consolidating in this line. This line has been extremely, like if I just put this line here, look at how much the price has hovered in this area over the course of Bitcoin's existence. It's actually extremely interesting. Look, it bounced here, had fights. Wow. The more I go back, look, we even had a wick bounce here. So this region has been always an indication for Bitcoin. If we can't break above it, we will have some downside. And honestly, we're a little high on the RSI. We have a double top forming here on the 4 hour as well. Yeah, I'm bearish on Bitcoin right now. I hate to say it, not long term, but short term. I'm bearish on Bitcoin. I think we're going to have a move. I think I'm going to make a buy into the bear USDT today. If I do, I will put it up on my Twitter feed to let you know when I got in, what my stop loss is. And yeah, I would love that because I could make money on the bear. And then when Bitcoin goes to where I want, I'll have more USDT to buy more bear, to buy more Bitcoin. That would be a dream come true. Hopefully I can play it perfectly right by keeping my emotions out of it and just getting through, right? Just getting through. Now, what do we see happening for Bitcoin? Bitcoin fares well against fiat currencies, but it's in a class of its own, right? Bitcoin fares well against fiat currencies, but it's in a class of its own. Gone are the days of dusty ledgers and checkbooks. Over the last decade or so, the word money has taken a completely new meaning for a lot of people around the world. Yeah, you can't call the USD dollar money. Money is something that has a store of value for a long period of time, over thousands of years, really. The US dollar has only been around since late 1700s, and it's lost so much of its purchasing power. How much purchasing power has the USD lost? Why has the dollar lost 93% of its value since 1913, right? The dead giveaway that tells you when Amazon has a lower price. This too will look for price. Okay. Purchasing power is not very transferable through history. Of course, there are things available as oats, for instance, but it would be hard to buy a jetliner ticket or a smartphone in 1913. So what is the parity of that? The value of money is essentially the main topic of economics. There are many thousands of books and papers on the topic every year. Hence, simple answers are few. But, it's basically, okay, these guys aren't answering the question right, but the dollar has lost 93% of its purchasing power since 1913. That means if you got $100 in 1913, you could have gotten so many things compared to what you could buy now. And there's inflation, there's all sorts of other things, innovation. I see that they're trying to talk about parities. But at the same time, if you had $100 worth of gold in 1913 and you transferred it to now, you could still get a nice meal. You could still buy the things that you need. Back then, I think $100 of gold was an ounce of gold. Now you'd have damn near $1,700. So back then, an ounce of gold, you could get a really high-end suit, maybe $1,000 suit to our equivalent, and you could take your wife out to 3 or 4 extremely nice dinners, $200 dinners. So now you could do the same thing 100 years later. But if you had $100 in USD back then, that could have gotten you that ounce of gold, and it was probably very, very a good chunk of money. Now you can you could take your wife on one meal, probably pretty regular meal as well, with a nice tip and some desserts. So we can see that Queens Hospital is crazy, bro. Glad you got out of there. Yo, send me links to what you're seeing. I want to see what you're seeing. Send it to my Twitter, man. You had some awesome link the other day, or even just post it here to Crypto Lifer at Facebook if you can. Maybe you're watching on your phone. I understand. So my bad. I just think you're a great asset to the channel, and I want to utilize your amazing search capabilities. So I don't mean to be rude when I do that, Muser. I just I need help. I need as much help as I can get, and I really appreciate you being on the stream. It means the world to me. People seem dead. I think people are sleeping later now. I think people don't want to wake up. I think a lot of people are staying up late because my late night streams are getting more attention and my early morning streams are kind of dwindling. It's telling me that people are just not getting up. Crypto investment, wealth is highest in San Francisco Bay Area. Crypto taxation tool CoinTracker has released a report comparing the prevalence of cryptocurrency ownership across major cities in the United States. The report is based on user data that CoinTracker has collected since 2013. The finding also indicates the concentration of crypto investors in the cities of San Francisco and New York, with their combined crypto user index roughly equating to that of the next 4 highest ranking cities combined. San Francisco was the top U.S. crypto city by number of investors and thus scored a user index of 100. New York ranks second for crypto investor density with a user index rating of 92. And that makes sense now. You're funny, man. I get it. Don't worry, man. Don't stress yourself. Queens hospitals. Wow, 13 deaths in a day in apocalyptic coronavirus surge in an NYC hospital. 13 deaths in a day in apocalyptic coronavirus surge in an NYC hospital. The fact that they just don't release their news right now, like the New York Times, they make you pay for these ads, it's just disgusting to me. I live literally a block from Elmhurst Hospital. We were already kind of nervous. I could walk there in about 15 minutes. I lived super close to Elmhurst Hospital. Just see what they're saying here. It's just so close to home. My sister's still right there. It really bothers me. Really freaks me out. People don't realize that no matter your age, you could die from this. People are still going to work like, oh, whatever, it's crazy. But I'm trying to tell people to get out of New York, if you can. So this won't play for whatever reason. Oh, why? Because look, I have Brave ad browser on there, so they can't cookie me or do something that they wanted to do. Who knows why this isn't playing? Could be my stream. They're trying to track data. Let's just read it together. I just like to see the ridiculous reporters like, hey. All right, New York's Elmhurst Hospital is at a breaking point amid the coronavirus crisis, with 13 patients dying there in a 24-hour span, officials said on Wednesday. The number of deaths recorded at the Queens facility between Tuesday and Wednesday was consistent with the amount of ICU patients being treated there, a spokeswoman for the city hospital said. Half of all New Yorkers will get coronavirus. I think way more than that. He's bugging. Elmhurst is at the center of this crisis, said Christopher Miller. It's the number one priority of our public hospital system right now. Staff are doing everything in our power to save every person who contracts COVID-19, but unfortunately the virus continues to take an especially terrible toll on the elderly and people with pre-existing conditions. Officials say the 540-bed hospital is overrun and in desperate need of supplies. It's currently operating at more than 125% capacity compared to its typical 80% capacity, which first reported that the hospital is overwhelmed. It's like working at a field hospital in the middle of a war zone, one ER nurse told the Post. New patients are lined up the doors. They aren't enough beds to hold them. Equipment is running out faster than we can restock it. I've never seen anything like it. I told people this was going to happen. We went over this. Doctor there said they had to bring in commercial freezer truck to store bodies. Oh my God. Yeah, man. I was telling everyone this was going to happen in my hometown. People did not, even now people don't understand the severity. Like, I think it's going to hit home when they see the trucks everywhere. I would be following these trucks to the crematoriums. Somewhere in New York, there's got to be crematoriums. I want footage of that. This makes me want to go back to New York with a mask and like be on the front lines of this journalism. Never wanted to really get the grip of the story before, but for my family and my health, I probably will not do that, but I would like to. Early this year, scores of people were seen lined up outside of the hospital just to get tested for the coronavirus. Those lines are just an indication of the overflow and lack of capacity. They're inundated, said Moya, who was born at the hospital, used to work there in development and represents the district it's located in. In the last 24 hours, Elmhurst added 25 staffers from other hospitals as well as a number of ventilators, said Moya. On Monday, the councilman and Jonathan Crane, the co-founder of the upcoming soccer team Queensborough FC, delivered 1,000 face masks to the hospital. But the facility will need a lot more help to sustain itself amid a surge in coronavirus patients. Queens has been hard hit by the pandemic. Hey, I'm going to put this out there. If anyone wants to help me, I'm going to create a GoFundMe, and we're going to try to send as many masks as we can to that hospital. We're going to try to do something here, Crypto Lifer. I'm going to put my own money on the line. I'm lucky enough to keep working right now. I feel horribly guilty. That is my basically home base. That's the hospital I would go to. I've been to that hospital many times. My wife's grandmother's been to that hospital many times. Just recently, we were going there to visit her grandma. Her grandma is in a nursing home, probably a 7-minute walk away from there. And just recently, they said no more visitors can come. So her grandmother is old and dying. She's 88 years old. She has a failing kidney. She's blind. And she's stuck in the old age home. My wife can't see her. And then they called us 2 nights ago and said they had their first case in the old age home. Sad to say, but there's a high chance that we do lose her grandma. I will keep the faith, but there's a high chance that we have a death in our family not too long from now. And I don't want to project that. I project hope, but I'm ready for the pain. I'm ready for the pain. About 30% of Big Apple cases are Queens residents. 5,066 as of Wednesday, according to the data. Elmhurst staffers on the front lines are doing a tremendous job with limited resources they have, Moya said, but the hospital is at a critical stage. They're not going to be able to sustain, Moya said. The relief has to be there for the doctors and the nurses, and quickly. Jeez, man. This is I didn't want to make this about it, but you know what? This is like really what's happening right now. Bitcoin just loves to hold this 6,600 level. It's just like, you know what? I am going to consolidate. It's bugging me out because I thought I could get back in after my 6,500 sell. And we're just kind of like, and if I buy it, will it tank? I mean, I'm thinking it's going to go back to 4,500. So I'm staying off of it right now. If it does break out of this bull flag, I think I'll take a nibble here at 68 and we'll see if I can get up into the higher range. I do want more Bitcoin though. So it sucks to have to pay more because then I get less Bitcoin, right? If I have 6,600 on the table and it goes to 68, you get 0.90 something, not a whole Bitcoin. So I'm stuck right now. Even as all my knowledge and all my trading, even I constantly get put in a position where I'm just like, I'm binded by the data on both sides. My grandma broke her hip last week and she now is in a nursing home and no one can see her. She's not doing well. I feel so sorry for you, man. She's a sweetheart. She's been nothing but nice to me, that lady. What a nice woman. I love her glasses, her little smile, and she's on the rocking chair. And I used to love coming in there and giving her a hug in your house. So I'm shedding a tear for you, Grandma, man. Like, it's hitting me pretty hard. I really, really, really feel horrible for you. And I'm sorry about that. I guess we're in this together. We're both suffering, you know. My wife, what does that say? Yeah, no, we just went over it. Elmhurst, we did it.
My neighborhood?
Yeah, you weren't listening?
No, I was talking to your mom.
We just went over it. Nikolai put us out. They have a freezer truck for the bodies. They're overrun. Like, they don't know what to do. People were lined up last week in a line trying to get tested. Yo, bodies are going to be dropping left and right in Queens. It's sad to say. Sad that I basically said this was going to happen. I'm working on a track right now. I can kind of show you guys. Working on a track right now. I guess I'll play it. Why not? It's in the very early stages. But I'll let it out right now just to kind of get it going. It's in the very, very early stages though. So still needs to be mixed. I need to do a bunch of reverb and I'm going to do some ad-libbing and all sorts of other stuff to it. The stuff that I normally do. Also, I usually have a mixer do a lot of my own mixes and stuff, but now I'm here in my own studio, so I'm doing it. But here's a track I just made.
It was all good in December, went by so fast I don't even remember. We marching into March, now the sickness ensues. First it wasn't even in the news. People dying in China, abused, jumping out of buildings, suffocating
in a noose.
The truth is right here, though the angle's obtuse.
Toos.
Some people can't see it if it's right in their face. I told them 100 times, they still running in place. They won't tell you if the kids die. Bodies burning and they did fry. Crematoriums were running
24/7.
It's the same in Italy.
They're gonna pause the election.
No matter the country, the stats all the same. You
Asymptomatic at your basketball game.
I was sounding alarms. You could check the gram, I never
wanted you harmed.
And these were deep messages, they
came from the heart.
I had to
show you the path though, before it did start.
I was laughed at by friends, there was jokes
on my neck.
It didn't bother me none, no,
my mental intact.
I follow my own soul till I fade out to black. It was Braveheart 2020, I was wearing a mask. I tried to tell you it was coming.
Most people just call me a dumb man.
Same folks seem to be
all out of jokes. They gonna be the ones who are running.
I tried to to tell you it was coming. Most people just called me
a dumb man.
Same folks
Seem to be all out of jokes.
They gonna be the ones
Who are running. I gotta put the second verse in. I wrote it already, but today I'm gonna record the second verse. But yo, man, shit was my life, man. I was telling people the truth. No one wanna listen to me. So this producer hit me up on Instagram. He made this beat. I gotta find out. I think his name is Kendall on the track. Kendall on the track. Yeah. When I heard it, I just like, yo, I could vibe to that. No, it was coming. Most people just called me a dumb man. Yeah, but I'm inspired all the time to make art of any type, you know. Man, this is getting bad. This is getting really bad. Bitcoin double top pattern. See, foretells bearish movement on the horizon. Bitcoin price reached a daily close of 67.31 and continued its increase the next day, reaching a high of 69.75. However, the high prices could not be sustained, and then Bitcoin price failed to close above the major resistance area of 6,900. On March 25th, the Bitcoin price reached 6,900 resistance levels, which is both the closest significant daily resistance level and the 3.82 fib level of the entire previous decrease. The price was unable to break out above this level and instead created a bearish doji candlestick and decreased slightly. Yeah, these dojis. Previously, the prices reached this new level on March 20th, but created a very long upper wick and decreased significantly afterwards. So they see the double top too. See, traders see these things, and that's see this right here. We have a low and a higher low, but the high and the higher low. That's called bearish divergence. So we also see that this bearish divergence forming here, combined with a significant bearish divergence on the RSI, a sign that the price might soon initiate a rapid decrease. Yeah, I think I'm going to get into the bear USD token. I'm going to play it today. I'm going to play it because I see things exactly for what they are, and I'm not going to be on hopium. We still are in that bear flag. It could go down. So we have one or two ways. We'll go up to 77. We'll go down to 4,500. But I think, yeah, you can see the bearish divergence here. Look, I'll show you what bearish divergence is. If you take a high on the top and you have another high and that goes up, but then you have a high here and another high. And look, it already played out exactly as it showed. And we moved down. So that is what's called bearish divergence. It's a very, very good indicator of what's to come. So, all right, folks, I'm going to sign off. We did what we could. I told you about gold. I think you should be in the JNUG play. I think it's going to go up really well. I got out of SPXU. I just decided it was, you know, I don't know, for whatever reason. But you know what I see here is hidden bullish divergence right now. So we were just talking about it. Actually, not really. We'd have to go to this low. We'd have to take this low to this low. And that would take this low to this high. But we have that drop. Oh, no, this one here. So we just went over bearish divergence. This would be bullish divergence. We're going to have a curve up soon. When this turns white and pinkish, if we do see some pink moves maybe towards the end of the day, this would be a good time to get back into SPXU. I sold at 37, but now would be the time to get back in to SPXU. It's sad. You can't ride everything up and down, especially in a volatile market right now. I don't think you should be playing anything long. I think you should be taking what you can each day and stashing it away because you don't know what's going to happen the next day, right? So, but look, JNUG reading the gains. Not a lot of big gains today, but JNUG holding it down at 10%. And I'm sure there's some biotech stocks and other weird things, but yeah. Wow, a lot of shocking news today. So the Dow was down, but now it seems to be kind of figuring itself out. Now we have an issue with Bitcoin mining difficulty sees a historic drop. Even larger might be coming. Bitcoin mining difficulty seems far from over. Major Bitcoin mining pool, Bitcoin.com, estimates that the next adjustment expected to occur in 2 weeks would see the mining difficulty go down by another 16%. If this were to happen, the percentage would take the place of the second highest in history, sitting behind 18% record on Halloween of 2011. Also, if that drop were to come true, the mining difficulty would start at 11.68 terahash, which hasn't seen since mid-September 2019. Furthermore, the computational power of the Bitcoin network, known as the hash rate, fell as expected below 100 etherhash, now standing at 9.4. In comparison, it went up to 118 during the previous adjustment on March 9th. So the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has had a massive effect on the Bitcoin price, and this 50% downwards movement then had a massive effect on the miners and pushed many of them into making losses. However, Bitcoin infrastructure company Block Solutions said it's not necessarily the case that miners shut down their rigs right away. Rather, due to contractual obligations and failed treasury management, miners often operate at a loss, which forces them to sell more Bitcoin than they mined, which then depletes the Bitcoin treasury and brings additional sell pressure to the market. They eventually go bankrupt and have to close their doors. And what happens is, now that the difficulty level is low, Argo Fresh. I was in it 6 months ago. Saw it go crazy. What is Argo Fresh? Let me see. Is that a coin or is that a stock? Argo Fresh. Huh. I don't know what that is. Argo Fresh. I'm gonna have to Google it. Argo Fresh Solutions, AGFS. AGFS. Argo Fresh Solutions Inc. on the NASDAQ. Huh. Chemical agriculture. Yeah. Had a bump. Look at, they all look almost exactly the same. Now I got you. Found it. I'm going to find a way to make this less latent if I can. I'm going to Google that. Latency on live streams, because I think you guys are like 20 to 30 seconds behind me, which is fine because I can read you and prepare for you, but it also kind of makes things strange. All right, so let's see if the price of gold has moved up on this site. All right, down $1, 1836. Wow, I just can't believe it's that expensive to buy some gold now. I bought this gold necklace, which is 18 carats at 60 grams, and if you're not sure how to do carats, well, 24 carats would be the full 99 gold. So you do 24, right, divided by 14, or the other way around, right? 14 divided by 20, or 18, right? 18 divided by 24. And you get 0.75. So now this, and then I have 60 grams of gold in here. So 60 times 0.75, which gives me 45 grams of gold in this necklace, right? 35 grams of solid gold in this necklace. And I bought it at 45 grams. Let's just do the math. Gold was at 1479 divided by 28. 1479 divided by 28. That puts us as 52.82. So we'll say 52.8. 52.8 times, I'm going to show you our 52.8 times 45. So that gave me this necklace a value of $2,376 when I bought it. Now how much is it? We're going to do 52.8, right? Now we're going to go say, now you have to pay $1,800. Even though the price is lower, you have to pay $1,800. I think that the gold people know that too. So we divide that by $28 an ounce, 64, and I have 45. You can see times 45. So this is now worth damn near $3,000. This necklace has gone up by $10 a gram since I purchased it, and I only purchased it in like December. If that's not an investment that you can wear on your chest, I don't know what is. Just to prove to you guys that buying gold will never hurt you. Even if there's a slight downside, it'll never hurt you. It never will. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. And remember, crypto is life. If you came to my channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Have a wonderful day. Be safe. I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I will be live tonight at 10 p.m.